indeed. This is your election headquarters. You're welcome to Voters' Voice here on the AM show this Tuesday. Our concentration today is on a matter that's been brewing. Came up strongly yesterday with different experts having their say on this, and I'm talking about the issue of chiefs actively participating in partisan politics. I want to remind you of that constitutional provision. Usually when the matter comes up, we point to what the Constitution says, the reason chiefs should not be engaged in politics. But what exactly is that provision? Here we go with what is contained in that, and this is Article 276 of the 1992 Constitution, which says a chief shall not take part in active party politics, and any chief wishing to do so and seeking election to Parliament shall abdicate his stool or skin. You can go out to read the rest of it and then, make up your mind on that. But having heard different experts, there are people who say this provision, for instance, is not clear. They're putting their own interpretation to it. Some people have said, open the floodgates. They're doing it anyway. What do the people say on this? What is their voice? That's what we want to hear right now before we bring you what some other persons have been saying. So here are voices on this matter.
Well, I think leadership is all about development. So when you're a chief, all right, there's a need for you to focus on the development of your chiefdom or whatever. So you don't necessarily have to engage in partisan politics, but then at least you have to make sure that in whatever thing you engage yourself in, it all boils down to the development of your town or your city. That's what I think.
All right, actively. All right, so my understanding about politics is as in choosing sides, right, and policies, making choices, right, and as a chief already you are playing a leadership role. Sometimes partisan politics actually if it is not going to disturb your line of work, what you are doing, I think it's fine. But if it is, sometimes depending on where you are located, I think you should just focus on what role has been put into your hands to do, and then rather let that thing work. Yeah, and let that politics thing lie. That is what I think. Yeah, so it depends. If it's not going to go against your role of work, yes, that's it.
Be partisan in politics because you stand as a neutral person to the people. So if you join either NDC or MPP, how can your people, I mean, what can I say? If some of your people have a problem, how are they going to come to you and you advise them? Because they may say this chief is a NDC, so when I go to him I will not listen to whatever I'm going to say.
I think it's yes and no. Yeah, yes, because they are also part of the citizens. They are citizens of this country, and then they can involve themselves in it. And then no, because they are authorities, right? And then in Ghana, we respect our leaders. So when they involve themselves in politics, other people can just be insulting them anyhow, because maybe they won't be of the same view, right? Maybe the chief can be an NDC man or NPP person, and then other people won't form. Especially, let's look at what happened with the chief imam, the Ashanti regional one. Yeah, so people don't think he shouldn't have made that comment. Yeah, so I think people of authority at times they should exempt themselves, and then at times too they can also partake in it because they're also citizens. Yeah.
I don't think there's any problem with the chief engaging in anything like that. It's politics, and if it divides us, then it's not good for us. So since it's only good for us if it puts us together. You understand? So chiefs, I don't think if a chief supports someone, it should bring division among the society or anybody. I don't have any problem with that. I'm only concerned about my music and my songs. So if a chief is supporting anyone, I'm not there. I'm not part of that move. Okay, so better subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow my music. I think that will be better than these things. There's no problem with it.
Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante joins us via Zoom on the back of the voices that we've heard. Dr. Asah-Asante, a very good morning to you, if you can hear me. Hello, good morning to you, sir. Hello, sir. Could you kindly unmute? Okay. Apologies there. Hello, sir. I think there's an issue with your audio. We'll try and sort that out and then come back to you. But in the meantime, as we try to correct that, there's something that another lawyer has put out there that we would want to share with you. But before we even do that, let's hear the voices again.
Well, I think leadership is all about development. So when you're a chief, all right, there's a need for you to focus on the development of your chiefdom or whatever. So you don't necessarily have to engage in partisan politics, but then at least you have to make sure that in whatever thing you engage yourself in, it all boils down to the development of your town or your city. That's what I think.
All right, actually. So my understanding about politics is as in choosing sides, right, and policies, making choices, right, and as a chief already you are playing a leadership role. Sometimes partisan politics actually if it is not going to disturb your line of work, what you are doing, I think it's fine. But if it is, sometimes depending on where you are located, I think you should just focus on what role has been put into your hands to do, and then rather let that thing work. Yeah, and let that politics thing lie. That is what I think. Yeah, so it depends. If it's not going to go against your role of work, yes, that's it.
Be partisan in politics because you stand as a neutral person to the people. So if you join either NDC or MPP, how can your people, I mean, what can I say? If some of your people have a problem, how are they going to come to you and you advise them? Because they may say this chief is a NDC, so when I go to him I will not listen to whatever I'm going to say.
I think it's yes and no. Yeah, yes, because they are also part of the citizens. They are citizens of this country, and then they can involve themselves in it. And then no, because they are authorities, right? And then in Ghana, we respect our leaders. So when they involve themselves in politics, other people can just be insulting them anyhow, because maybe they won't be of the same view, right? Maybe the chief can be an NDC man or NPP person, and then other people want from, especially let's look at what happened with the chief imam, the Ashanti regional one. Yeah, so people don't think he shouldn't have made that comment.
We can now speak to Dr. Asante now. Good morning to you, sir. Apologies for the mishap earlier. Hopefully we can hear you. Hello, Dr. Asante. Okay, good morning. Great to have you on the AM show and on Voters' Voice. The question we're asking really is not new. This issue has come up. It came up strongly in 2016. I remember after the election, people were making mockery of those chiefs who clearly endorsed the NDC's candidate, essentially laughing at them because they lost. But it's come up again, and I wonder the implication this has on our politics. You're coming from a political science background. So generally, is there a clear cut? Where are we really?
My dear sister, if they could correct the line. I'm getting some feedback which is disturbing me, so I'm not able to focus. If we can fix it in a minute, we can go ahead with our conversation. Absolutely,
we will do that. We will probably take this conversation on the phone so we can get the conversation going. Dr. Asante is a political scientist with the University of Ghana. Just trying to correct that sound now so we can get back to him. Dr. Asante, can you hear me better now?
Yeah, it's fine. It's very fine now.
Okay, great. So I was just asking, I was saying at the beginning that this matter is not new, and we saw it come up rather very strongly in the last election, where chiefs went all out. We've read the constitutional provision, which some lawyers have said is not even clear, and they put different interpretation to it. I was asking the implication on our politics to have chiefs clearly either endorse or take part in active politics.
Yes. Good morning, my sister, once again. I am not surprised that we are seeing a recurrence of this around this time. This has been with us since time immemorial, not even the Fourth Republic. It's been with us for a very long time. But unfortunately, the state has not done anything about it. We look on while these things go on. And especially when it's about campaign time or election time, we see these things coming up. And then we talk about it briefly, and then after election, we go back to sleep, only to return to the same problem in the next election. That's unfortunate. But it tells you the hypocrisy on the part of Ghanaians in terms of issues like that. We want to deal with the problem, but at the same time, we don't want to talk about it. That position, for me, is not helping matters. But I think there are a lot of causes in this regard. Why are we seeing a recurrence of this? It's simply because the politicians benefit from this. So those who make the law work are not able to put their foot down simply because of what they could derive from such enterprise. Another point is that there's a lack of political will on the part of politicians, and that also ties in with my earlier point that I made, that they are not able to enforce the law as it is. But let's even look at the law itself. Is the law what it is? Is it enforceable? To the best of my mind, I'm not sure the law provides any sanction for people who flout this type of provision. So we are in a very difficult situation that, yes, at a point in time we see that, yes, this phenomenon is really going to affect the course of our politics. And yet we are not prepared to do anything about it. We only rise up to talk about a few things and then go to sleep, and for the thing to fester and for us to come and talk about it. That's not good enough. But there is something that we also have to ponder over and see whether we can make meaning and then find a solution to it. People also believe that the chiefs are being silent in terms of how to govern their country. These are people who are, some of them are very qualified to talk about politics, to be part of the conversation about the development of their country, to be part and parcel of any political discussion, and yet they are being pushed to the periphery because they are chiefs, they can't act. Has the state taken the trouble to look at all these so that we can reflect on it properly and have a very sound solution to the problem? That, for me, is the crux of the matter. Hello?
Yes, sir. There's a very crucial question. Will a government work with a chief who is a known political opponent? And an answer to this will bring us to another leg of this conversation. What does the political scientist say?
Strictly speaking, I don't see that is the case, or anything of this nature is good for this country. Why do you want to have a chief who is partisan to join, so to speak, the political campaign, give support to your party, and then the rest of it? My view is that there's something that we are not doing right. If you look at the law as it stands now, it is not enforceable. Yes, because every law must provide sanctions, and we don't have sanctions for people who flout them, right? I think we have to do something about this if we want to get it right and fix this problem once and for all. We are just paying lip service, and that's not helping matters. For now, what we know is that the chiefs are put on board and they are part of the local government administrative structure in a way. I think that is something we have to take a second look at the issue so that we can bring them on board on other areas that will help them to be a bit comfortable. But some of them, if you talk to them, they'll tell you, we are also citizens of this country. Why do you want to deny us the opportunity to be part of any political discussion of this? This argument, from my perspective, I believe that it's sound enough for us to for it to gain our attention. So we need to look at these things so that we can find a lasting solution to it.
But the trend in Ghana, if you want to join the political conversation, you must belong to one party or the other, which means that you must be partisan.
Yes, the Constitution makes it clear that if you want to join a party, you need to, if you have your position as a chief, you need to abdicate and then join in full time. There's no problem about that. But you cannot be a chief and at the same time play active politics. That's where the problem is. And because the law is at the moment not enforceable, we have this problem on our hands. I believe the way forward to this problem is that either we come out with a law that really spells out sanctions for people who violate that law. That problem is not going to go away anytime soon. The second thing we need to do is to, if you don't want to go by what we have in the provision of as a provision in the Constitution, we can look at a law that would say that any chief who engages in this is enough grounds for dismissal, where any ordinary person can trigger a court action and it can see to the removal of the chief from the stool. That is one way to look at it. Another way is to also give them a quota on the board that we put them on. We know, as the current arrangement is that chiefs, some of them are put on boards here and there. We need to deepen that if we are really serious about this problem, and then give them a quota so that you can have quite a number of them being represented in various boards. I think that can comfort them and can suit them.
But it's interesting you say that, Dr. Asante, because we know that even for you to get an appointment of this nature, you must be politically aligned somehow.
Yeah, but you know that it is not always the case that you need to be politically active before you get appointment. That is not always the case. Sometimes it's by dint of hard work, or because of your record or your experience. People want to bring you on board so that you can have your expertise felt on the board. And that is the basis by which sometimes we appoint people. Not necessarily you are a political animal or you have a political connection. No.
Yeah, but what's the perception out there? Once you're appointed by this government and the appointment is made by the president, that's how you're perceived to be aligned with the government.
So are we saying that if the president appoints anybody who is worth his or her salt and can deliver the public goods, that appointment is tainted and cannot be regarded as a genuine appointment? And no, I differ from that position. I believe that if somebody has what it takes to be able to deliver the public goods or support us in any cause that we do, and we bring the person on board, why not? Remember, even in other jurisdictions, you have second chamber where people are appointed into the upper house, where people are selected into the upper house, not on the basis of politics, but by their experience, by wealth of ideas and all that. They think that bringing that person on board, you are going to what? Leverage on that and improve the fortunes of the country. So I think if we take a cue from this issue, help us. And this ties in with the argument that people believe that why don't you scrap the Council of State and make it what? A second chamber, so that some of the chiefs can get in there and then bring their expertise to bear on the work of Parliament.
So who takes the lead in the changes? Because you've already stated that the politicians are beneficiaries of this. So nobody wants to touch this piece of law. That really means nothing. It's just sitting there. We keep quoting it. We keep condemning this act. We talk about it, yet the chiefs continue to do it.
Yeah, the conversation has started today. But if we are serious, we can sustain it and bring other actors in. What am I talking about here? We can, civil society can take it up and make it part of their business to be able to team up with people in Parliament, such as the backbenchers, and then they can end up with what, a private member bill that goes to Parliament and get it passed. And then we all make sure that it is enforced. And it can be used as one of the campaign tools, that any party that is not ready to do this thing for us, we are not ready to give you any mandate. If we are serious about it, I'm sure we'll be able to find a lasting to it. But for now, I believe that we are only paying lip service. We are not serious about the problem. We are not ready to find solution to it. For me, that is what there is for Ghanaians.
Yeah, but is this issue hurting us so much?
It is, because who are the chiefs? They are, as it were, the God's representatives on earth. They are the rallying force behind the people in our various local areas. They are the symbol of authority traditionally, and they are the people around which traditional system revolves. And of course, our whole existence as people with a common destiny, a common history, and all that. So the chiefs are nothing but very important people in our traditional society, for which reason we cannot allow them to be part of politics, so that the force or the power that they will be divided among us, or we'll look at them with a certain level of, lack of respect, if there's anything like that. So, put it simply, all that I'm saying that we should not support this type of business, so that our chiefs will remain people that will respect, people that will believe they represent us in all things.
Dr. Kwame Asante, just the final one. What pushes the chiefs, to do this in the first place? Is it pressure from the politicians themselves? Or is just some incentives? Sometimes they are overwhelmed by the development that comes to their area and they can't help it, so they go ahead and make those endorsements.
It's a mix of factors, and you have rightly pointed out some of them. One is that sometimes they are overwhelmed by the development that is going on or coming on from government in their area. Of course, every chief wants development. They want their people to progress, make it in life, end the living and all that. So when they see that, they can hold their joy, but to express it publicly. Another thing is also that sometimes, they are in desperate need to be part of the political competition. Imagine you and I, who have gone to school, develop ourselves, and there is something that you can contribute and contribute effectively, even through campaign and all that. And you are prevented from speaking on those issues. It's a bit worrying, a worrying development that we need to look at. Why do you allow everybody to be part and parcel of the political discourse, but chiefs are only people who cannot be part? That the state has not taken a critical look at. and we have not been able to deal with it. And if you look at the country's administrative architecture, you realize that it pushes the chiefs into the periphery. They are not part of serious political business, and that's why some of them are reacting the way they do. But of course, some also could be that, yes, they are in line with other parties, and they derive certain benefits. Remember, some of them are businessmen and women and all that. So sometimes they want their contract to get through, and they want to rely on politicians for these things to be carried through for them. So you can see such behavior showing up in the public.
Is this going to get worse? Just finally, before you go,
I believe we are not out of the woods here. We are going to have difficult situations as we go along. If we don't nip this problem in the bud, we are going to see even chiefs going to the extreme to do things that you and I cannot even want to dream about. It can get worse. But the state, if we are serious and want to address this problem, we must look at it from serious perspective and be cool and reflect on them and have a lasting solution to it. It can be done, but if the state is not serious about it, we will only talk about this during election time and go to sleep and allow the problem to reappear the next election.
Dr. Kwame Asante, I thank you very much for your time, as always, here on the show.
Most good.
Absolutely very important thoughts there that he shares with us. He's a political scientist with the University of Ghana. And that's it for Voters' Voice. But before we go, here's some comments shared by lawyer Professor Kweku Asare and his thoughts on Facebook. I'm going to be reading them to you. This is a lawyer's perspective, and a colleague of his raised the question, are chiefs engaged in active party politics when they, like foot soldiers, shower praises on and publicly endorse politicians? He says it's a good question. The answer must lie in why chiefs are banned from engaging in active politics. Those who wrote the Constitution, he says, must have felt that chiefs are or must at least play the role of a unifying force. They should be capable of speaking to all sides of the political divide such that all sides can trust their word when they engage in their usual squabbles. Further, they might have felt that chieftaincy is a traditional institution that is or should be beyond partisanship. This view of chieftaincy will also apply to the judiciary and other members of independent bodies. Viewed from that perspective, one could reasonably argue that chiefs play active politics when they take sides. This will include the endorsement that the person who first raised the question, that's Honorable Chumesi, as he puts it, described. Thus, I'll vote to expand the meaning of active to include any public actions that identify the chief with or as supporting a political party. Views of Professor Kweku Asare, who is a very important person really when it comes to national conversations, because he takes it to a whole new level, most of the time seeking constitutional interpretation to the issues that bothers us as a country. So the view of a lawyer, because the issue has come up in terms of what does the constitutional provision even mean, with some people saying it doesn't mean that the chiefs can't do what we've seen them do. It doesn't constitute active politics and so on and so forth. So the conversation continues, but that's it for Voters' Voice from us here on the AM show. Join us again on Thursday, God willing, as we bring up another issue related to the election. This is your election headquarters. Still to come here on the AM show, though, we've got the National Science and Maths Quiz. We're entering into the semi-final stage. We will be touching base with Maxwell Agbagba live from the University of Ghana Business School. The three competitions starting from 9 a.m. remember, will be live here on JoyNews. Update on all our social media handles. We've got our roving reporter also today reporting from the Obechebi Lamte roundabout. Major construction works ongoing, some inconveniences here and there, but how will it all look like when it is done? So Manuel Cranton will bring us that report as well. We've got show business news also here on the show. Stay with us.